Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Thank you for listening to Lockdown with Thought Leaders. My name is Bryan Shue. I have Destinee Prete with me, the brand new Dr. Destinee. So
Thank you.
I want to thank you for joining us.
It's so weird to hear that.
I know, right? I was like, at some point, this woman will get her doctorate, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to turn it over to you. Give us a little bit about you. Tell me about yourself in, brief introduction.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Destinee Prete. Like Bryan said, I'm newly Dr. Destinee Prete. Dr. Destinee, yes, that is my real name. People ask me all the time, and so sometimes you just got to go with it, right? But I'm really excited to be here today to talk about our veteran community. My PhD is in IO psychology, which is an industrial and organizational psychology, with a focus on consulting and psychological coaching. So in addition to my doctorate, which I spent all of my time, researching veterans, I can't get away from you guys. You guys stick with me every which way possible. I also am a veteran coach, so I'm a certified veteran developmental coach. And so I've been involved in the transition space for quite a long time. I've worked in it. I was a career counselor for SFL TAP. I was a VA benefit advisor site lead for Fort Belvoir and Quantico. So I know about VA benefits. I'm also a veteran myself. I was a med service officer from 2008 to 2012 at Fort Bragg. So I grew up in it. I've basically been affiliated with the military my whole life. And so I just, the military community is where my passion is, where I like to talk about, obviously. So just a tad little bit about me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for giving me some information about you. But
you are breaking up so bad.
Oh no, the internet's giving up on me. It's obviously like, hey, shut up for a second. You talk too much. But here we are in this new normal, and I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on what's the new normal for you.
What's the new normal for me? Is that what you said? Yeah, you're breaking up. So new normal for me. Well, like I told Bryan earlier, like I told you actually, that my kids are home full time now. So I've got twin 8-year-olds and a 7-year-old. And I'm trying, yeah, I know, right? I'm crazy. So when you think you've had a long day, just remember, people like me have had really long days too. So they're home full time. I work for the State Department as a contract site lead supervisor. So and I work for the Med Bureau. So our mission is critical right now. It's incredibly important. And so I am supposed to be at work some days of the week. Some days I can telework. It just really depends on what's going on. And our main focus right now is actually coronavirus and, helping people globally get back here to the U.S. and, send PPE out. And so we have such a critical mission. And so new normal for me is chaotic. It's, trying to figure out telework. My husband is active duty. He works at the Pentagon. He has to go every day to work too. And then we have, kids being forced to stay home now. In Virginia here, they'll be home for the entire year. They don't go back to school. And I just got told 5 minutes ago that Virginia is now on lockdown. We also are just kind of figuring out what normal means. And I don't even know what it means anymore, but I do know that we, just like this, we're able to do this kind of stuff still. We can still find some normalcy even in chaos. And I think, talking with veterans every day and being a veteran myself, we kind of operate best in chaos, right? So my new normal is chaos. So just like every other day.
And you bring up a great point about the veteran being chaos and the veteran population being so used to chaos. Mm-hmm. We should be, we should go out and say, this is what I do. This is me. This is what I've been exposed to my entire career. And,
right.
I find it really interesting that our civilian counterparts are so freaked out by this. And we're just like, another day for me. Cool.
Right.
I'm not.
Go with the flow.
Exactly. So,
right.
the civilian counterpart that's never dealt with something like chaos, what would you tell that person?
I think it's just, see, here's what I'm all about, because I think like in chaos, right? We're hearing a lot of noise. We're hearing a lot of noise. We're seeing it on the, TV, on Facebook, social media. Everybody is just so much noise, and it's so much unknown, and it's so scary. But even in all of that, it's important to know that no matter who you are, veteran, non-veteran, person, just human, right? You can control some of the outcomes that happen during your day. So I think when it comes to the word chaos, of course, there will always be some level of chaos. And then even on the outside of all of this, we're going to find ourselves in some really like obscure situations. We don't know what the workforce is going to look like. We don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. But I can tell you that it's important to control what you can. And you can control your reactions. You can control the way that you, talk to others about the situation. You can contribute to a dialogue that is calming, that is nurturing, because that's what we all need right now. We all just need to, tell everybody that it's okay. I told people last week that my entire purpose at my job was to reassure people. I literally spent days telling people everything was going to be okay, even though I didn't know if that was the truth, but that's what we need to hear. And so no matter who you are, I think that can resonate with anybody, that it's just important to understand that you have some sense of control over your outcomes. So whatever that looks like for you, right? So that would be my advice to people.
No, that's great. And I think that's also another unique perspective of the veteran community, is that we're so used to being in the
Right.
chaos environment. But now we can really thrive in it. We're able to express how we are utilizing our crisis management skills. If we're homes, how are we telling our family members, hey, you know what? It's going to be okay. We got this. We can deal
Right.
with this. It's going to be difficult adjustment, but
Right.
we're going to get through this. So,
Exactly.
I think for you, especially as a coach, if somebody were to say, what can I do to better prepare myself for my next role? What would you tell that person?
Well, there's a lot. Like I said, a lot of this is about what you can do, right? So you can focus on what's next for you. In a time where there is a lot of noise, it's so important to know that there is going to be an end to this, right? At some point, this is all going to end. We don't know what that looks like. So it's important to consider all of the things that in that potential outcome, what can we do? And so you can work on yourself. You can do all of those things that you've put to the side, and you're like, you know what, I don't have time for that. You know what, I've always said I don't have enough time. Well, time is on our side right now. It kind of took an entire turn on us, right? We're like, what? We have so much time. What do we do with this time? And I think that's where we can really focus on what are those things that we wanted to do for so long, but we haven't had the chance to tackle. And maybe you don't have the chance to tackle them right now, but you can actually start creating some actionable items and goals that you can reach while you're kind of sitting around. And it's really good for your brain too. It's, it makes your brain kind of flex a little bit more, and our brain's always growing. And so it's important to be able to, kind of filter all those really good things and give ourselves that good food for our brain about, look, action items. We can do this right now for tomorrow, and honestly too, we all just kind of need to spend a little bit of time just chilling out and really, embracing this time with our family and getting to know ourselves again. I think this is a time for, some people have made jokes about we were all down here fighting and, God put us all to our rooms, right? But in some ways it does feel that way. But I think in that way you can look at it and go, you know what, maybe it's time for me just to calm down a little bit, enjoy the moment. I always say just live in it and just kind of see what that means to you and your family. And then on the side of it, creating those, things to do for yourself that are going to push you to the next level when this is all over. Because the worst thing you can do for yourself right now is do nothing. So
I mean, that's right there. So many people are like, I just want to sit back and do nothing. I mean, what you said is key. It's the worst thing to do is to do nothing.
Right.
So, if
Right.
you're watching this and you were going to give me some advice, what would your advice be so I can be more effective for my teams?
That's a good question. I think, right now, it's important to, okay, when we're talking about a team, there just has to be some leader, right? And so I think right now, maybe kind of taking that role on as a leader, and because if you always kind of see yourself in a leadership role, and if you believe in leadership theories and all of these things, you'll understand that to be a leader doesn't always necessarily mean that you have to be the one overpowering and in charge. It also means that you know how to follow along, or how to, utilize your team based on their strengths. And so I think right now, when it comes to that, it's really getting to know what kind of leader you are, how you can, what your strengths are, where do you like, kind of lack at, because we all have, we all lack somewhere. And so, and I'm very, very self-aware that, I have some flaws. And so when it comes to teamwork, it's about knowing what your strengths are, knowing how to utilize those, and then knowing how to basically use your team in the best kind of way. And so you can always be more effective by keying in on your strengths, building those, flexing those muscles again with their strengths, even when it comes to your brain. And then on the outside, you'll find that you'll be more effective because now you've spent the time, using those skills, because, we don't know what the timeline looks like, right? We don't know that this is going to be done tomorrow, or if it's going to be done. Some people are saying 9 to 18 months. Okay. That's a long time, right? So if that's potentially as long as we're going to be sitting around, that's a long time to work on yourself. And that's a long time to really get to know and self-reflect and build those leadership skills and build those team skills. And then also you can build your team while you're at it. So depending on what you're doing, whether you're teleworking or whether you're building your network of people, you can build your team right now, and you can be a natural leader by encouraging them right now, because that's what people need. People need to be encouraged, and they need to be, empowered right now. So I think, you can do that easily no matter who you are.
No, you absolutely brought up some great points and great ideas for those that are watching this. And I hope they take some of these into consideration, because it is a chance for you to grow and to learn and to
Right,
experience those new things that many of us probably had put on the back burners.
right,
And so, you're not stuck in perpetual state of stop.
exactly,
You're now welcomed into this perpetual state of growing. And
exactly,
that can be a mind shift for a lot of people.
right,
Are you now looking at ways to grow? Are you
right,
looking at ways to learn? And
100.
what has been your favorite way to communicate or to network with people during this whole lockdown period?
Well, a couple of ways. Actually, it's really exciting for me because it's given me the actual opportunity to talk to people again. What regular, workflow, I commute about an hour and 15 minutes one way to work every day and then home. And so that takes away my ability to talk to people. In fact, I need decompression time, right? And so I use my metro ride to like block the world out and just like Usa, namaste, all of those things. I need to come back to the ground. So this time has been really, really beneficial for me because I've been able to actually talk to people. I've actually been able to drive to work. In DC, 18 miles can be 3 hours, right? But lately it's been 18 minutes. So it's been really nice to like use this time. So I've been able to open myself back up to mentorship calls. I have been able to reach on LinkedIn to people. Last week, I think I had 14 scheduled phone calls. Yeah, this week, I think I already have about 10 in the queue, maybe up. I don't even know anymore. I just, hey, you want to talk? Let's talk. That's what I'm good at. So I've been able to network that way. And then in addition, I know that I can't talk to everybody. I don't have the time to help everybody. And I don't really have the cognitive ability to help everybody. I'm pretty brain dead by the end of the day. So I've been basically I started a vet growth mindset LinkedIn post series of posts. And it can really be for anybody. It's about growth mindset. And you talked about being static. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people to talk and to consider this idea that while we're sitting around here, we don't have to be static. We don't have to have a fixed mindset. We don't have to just accept what we think we have to accept, that we can actually have a growth mindset, that we can, you know, receive information and learn from it, and we can create our own script for ourselves. And so I've been doing that as well. And I think that has been taking a life of its own even. I don't have to be there 24/7 to like check in and see, are you, you know, is somebody talking? People talk amongst themselves. And so that creates another source of networking. You know, you don't have to be physically in front of somebody or physically talking to somebody to network. You can simply grow your network by being yourself, being your authentic self, putting yourself out there about what's true to you. And then people they'll catch on and they'll find what's, you know, the number one thing I tell people when you start talking to anybody, you need to find how you relate to one another, right? That's how you continue to build a relationship. And so that's what like these series and things on LinkedIn do. You know, you create the hashtags and you'll find people that you didn't even know that you could collaborate and network with, because, you know, you just have never had that opportunity to before. But now we have so much downtime. I mean, what else is there to do, right? Let's talk amongst ourselves and follow hashtags. And so networking has definitely changed for me. And I think it has for many people too. And some people aren't taking advantage. Some people are still uncomfortable, and that's okay. I think that I want to stress this a lot, because I've had a couple of people who have said they feel uncomfortable networking like this, right? Or like on the computer. But you're in your safe zone right now. You're in your house, right? You're confined to the walls of your house. So if you think about it, you're safe. You know, you can't make a mistake. Like, what's the worst? Somebody doesn't reciprocate it back to you. That's okay. You're at home and you're safe, and you're in your Zen area. And so I think that it's okay to be uncomfortable. I think right now is the best time to experience discomfort, because at the end of the day, we're right back in our safe zone. We're not have to drive and think about it. We don't have to, you know, go out into the world and experience that discomfort. Right now, we're like in our safe haven. And so it's okay. You know, it's the best time to experience who you really are and how you can put yourself out there, in my opinion.
I think you really brought up a great point about networking, you know, in this new normal. And you know, you do have a lot of technology in your fingertips now. I mean, you have your phone, you have your laptop, you have,
Right.
you know, your ability to reach out to people, and that's what I think it should be vitally important to you and those watching this, is that take the opportunity to utilize that to your maximum capacity, because at the end
Right.
of the day, we're never going to be stuck in our houses forever. Like you said,
Exactly.
18 months, maybe, we'll see. But that's the worst. That would obviously, I think, the worst case scenario.
I know.
But now, let's maximize our time. Let's maximize
Right.
our effort. And I want to, you know, and this is also where we can get into is, you know, while we're maximizing our time, we maximize our passions. So what passion
Exactly.
project have you been able to work on now since you've been quarantined?
Quarantined. Duh, duh, duh. I haven't been quarantined, unfortunately. but you know, my boss did tell me I should probably telework some of the time, because, you know, it just wouldn't feel right making me come in every day. But a lot of so my problem is I have a lot of really great ideas and things I want to do, and I'm very like, I have to be doing something all the time. I know that I always say idle hands, idle mind is trouble for me. And I know that. And so I have been able to kind of take some of the ideas that I've had just swirling around for so many, you know, months now, and actually implement them. And like I said, I've been able to open myself up more to mentorship and coaching calls. And those are the things, that's what I thrive whenever I'm able to talk to people. That's when I'm my best. And so those two things have been very, you know, helpful to me. Those are part of my passion projects. I've also been able to start doing some work on my nonprofit. So I didn't mention it earlier, but I do have a nonprofit. It's called We Too Are Vets. And it's an established 501c3. And we focus on the honor, recognition, inclusion, and empowerment of our female veteran population. And so I haven't had a lot of time to dedicate to it. And so now I've been actually able to kind of make some steps forward. I've actually been collaborating with some amazing people. And then I plan on officially launching a lot of it in the next 4 to 6 months. I've been holding it all on the back burner because I wanted to get done with my doctorate and, focus on making sure that yes, you have to prioritize, I want to jump on everything, but I'm only one person. So I've been able to kind of do some work with my nonprofit and do some more volunteering and talking with Vets to Industry, which you know a lot about, Bryan, but an amazing group of people who are some of the most genuine people I've ever met, who sincerely want to help our veteran population. And these are the people that you want on your side. And so I've been able to collaborate a little bit more. And then in addition, kind of starting these series of posts and stuff, like I said, I know it might seem so minimal, but in a time where people don't always want to talk right now, some people talking is just, it puts them in an ugly place, right? It just depends. And so when you post, you kind of let it out there into the universe for people to be able to read when they are ready to read. And so for me, posting series on LinkedIn and things like that is really something that I am passionate about because I can reach people when they're ready. And so I've been doing a lot, and I've been working too. And I've also been trying to homeschool my 3 children, which is not fun. Okay. Kudos to the teachers. Kudos.
I mean, I would love to hear more about this, because I think that's also another topic that some of our listeners and people that are watching this will be like, Destinee, how are you managing working, schooling your kids, managing your family? What's that like for you?
Because, oh my gosh.
For me, I have me and my girlfriend, and that's it.
Right.
It's just 2 of us.
Right.
But for somebody that's a family, it has a family, they're going to be like, what is it? What am I doing wrong here?
Right.
My kids are running crazy, and they're tearing the house down, and I'm going to lose my house because they're just going to beat holes into the wall.
Exactly. Well, it's funny you say that. I think for me, like, once again, I thrive in chaos, right? So my life is always loud. I have a twin 8-year-olds, like I said, and a 7-year-old, all boys. They're all very close, not just, because they're close in age, but they're close. They love to play, and they love to interact, and they also love to prank me, and they love to joke. Like I was telling Bryan today, I said, I don't hope they don't make guest appearances, because they're in actually really silly moods today. But I think it's really about figuring out what people need from you, right? So my kids, I know what they need from me. I know that they need my attention certain times of the day. I pay close attention to, their cues, like, hey, Mom, I need you now. Or so the first and foremost thing I do is make sure that I'm listening to their needs. They're always my priority. And so it's really difficult right now because I am not a good school teacher. I can talk to adults all day long, but my children, I'm like, why don't you know how to read? Just, why don't you know how to write your A straight up and down with the crop? Like, so I know my weaknesses. So I do myself a favor every day so our school system hasn't gotten it all together yet. So we're kind of on our own floundering, and I'm flapping my wings like help. But I've been using the free resources that they have. I print out stuff. I like to physically print. I've always been, I don't really like the computer as much for them because I think they're still young. They're still learning how to, do all of the basics. So print out worksheets, we have it all ready. And so what I did this week was I actually pulled all of their school stuff into my area to where I actually work every day. So they have a little table that they work next to me. And so I've told them that, look, this is separate. Like I'm all about boundaries in my life, right? So these are the boundaries. So when we're in this boundary, we're focused on school and we're focused on getting things done. And then once you go away from the boundary, you can go be a kid, go have fun. Go run outside. I actually like literally pushed them outside today. I was like, go, be outside, you know? So you have to really learn how to balance, create boundaries. And I think this kind of goes with all parts of your life, right? And then at the end of the day, they're kids, right? But I talk to them like they're adults. Like I treat them as if they're like, hey, like I have legitimate conversations with my kids. Like, hey, the reason why mommy needs, you know, an hour at 2 p.m. is so that she can talk to people without being interrupted. And so whenever they know when I'm serious about things, and so they give me that mutual respect. So really how I manage it is just, I treat my kids like they're humans, and I communicate with them very well. And my kids are actually pretty well behaved. They're just, you know, they're boys. They think poops, farts, and all of those things are so funny. You know, well, it is what it is. Can't get away from it. So sometimes you just have to laugh, and, you know, and then you also just have to remember that, you know, and I've said this a lot. Imagine how hard it is right now to be a kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't understand what's going on.
No, and I
They
know for
got,
me, I would be like, nope,
uh-huh.
not a kid anymore. Nope,
It's
don't want that.
scary. It's scary. And
It
they got
is.
pulled out of there. They literally, you know, stopped school on like 2 Thursdays ago. They missed their friends. Me and my kids are very active. We go places all the time. We love going to Dave and Buster's. We love going to the theater. We love eating, you know, we go like, I don't sit still. And so being in the house confined to these walls has been very eye-opening for them and me together. We're getting creative, but I just think that we have to, especially as parents, we need to kind of stop and think like, how difficult must it be for them? And how do we talk to them about this kind of stuff? And how do we help them understand what's going on in the world? You know, my husband is, you know, consistently, you know, telling them like, hey, wash your hands, and, you know, don't touch your shoes, and like basic life things, you know, stop being gross, and keep your hands off your, you know, out of your nose, and like, don't eat it. Like, that's gross. So, but then we have to also say the reason why is because, you know, people can get really sick. And I also have a health condition that I'm on an immunosuppressant drug. So I am one of those people that they're always talking about when it comes to, you know, you have to, they're vulnerable basically. And so for my family, it's super important that we have a hygienic house and things like that. And
Absolutely.
so trying to kind of take the seriousness and bring it back and teach them, you know, there's more reasons why this is happening. And this is why we have to band together. And this is why you have to respect mommy's boundaries. And this is why you have to respect what's going on. So I think that, you know, I'm just doing my best to balance it all out with them and learn with them. Like, every day is a learning experience. Like, I'm just taking it as it comes, you know, and so
Absolutely.
are they.
And you brought up a great point of being one of those vulnerable groups of people. You know, from you know, being in your position, that brings
Right.
an extra light to you and to your situation, because, you know, for you going and getting sick with the COVID-19, it
Right.
could be deadly, and
It
that's a
could.
real concern, you know,
Right.
for you and your household. And that's where, like, for us as professionals, we need to realize, like, our team members could be in that group of compromised individuals, and how do we support them better and say,
Right.
"Yeah, I get it, you're compromised, you got to be more safe, you got to
Right.
be more, you know, aware of your surroundings." And
Right.
especially if you're stuck now in an office still, you know,
Mm-hmm.
how are you supporting those individuals, and are you, you know, implementing those steps to take care of those people? And,
Right.
you know, for you, I would, if it was me, I'd be like, oh, this is a nope, bad place. Let me cover myself from head to toe from sanitizer, and
Right.
also let me put myself in a bubble
Let me
suit.
drink
So
some.
yeah, let me drink some sanitizer. Let me put myself in a biohazard suit and walk around in a bubble, because
Right.
I don't want that coming into my space. I
Right.
know I'm a freak about that now. Like, everything I touch is sanitized. I'm like,
Right.
I don't want that. And I know as professionals, we have to understand that it's our responsibility, especially for leaders. It's our responsibility to take care of our team, both,
Exactly.
especially for either physically with them or not. You know, having that 5 minute conversation, say, hey, how are you doing, can go a
Right.
long way into
Right.
showing them, like, hey, I get it, you're human, I'm human.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, we're in this together. So,
Exactly.
um, and Destiny, for in your perspective, if I was a leader watching this, and I think I maybe brought this up a little bit earlier, what would you tell me to be more effective, or how can I be more effective, or what can I do to be, showing my team that, hey, I get it. We're all, you're suffering, I'm suffering. What would you tell that person?
So I'm kind of in an interesting situation because, like, we're going to take it down a little bit and get a little bit deep and serious here. So I do, like I said, work for the medical bureau. I am immunocompromised. I am a supervisor. I have about 30 people under me. And I was super worried about myself, right? And so I'm also very conscious of these. So for us in particular, like I said, we're front line to coronavirus in my bureau. We even see some of the patients that are having symptoms. And so the threat was real, and it is real. And in fact, I knew about the threat, in some cases much sooner than regular people. But there's a couple of things. First and foremost, no matter who you are, you have to have some sort of faith, right? You have to understand that, yeah, it could feel scary and it could feel like the end of the world, but even as a leader, you have to have you have to have faith that we're going to all get through this together. So the way to be effective is to realize that at the end of the day, we're all human. And at the end of the day, this is going to impact every single person on this planet some way or the other, whether they know somebody, whether they're exposed, whether they're going to get it themselves. And it's already impacting every single person right now by changing our daily routines, changing the way that we view people, changing the way that we interact. And so there's so much change right now. The best way to be effective right now is the basics of leadership. You have to care about your people. You have to know your people, right? You have to know what's going on with them. And those two things right there will create synergy, will create loyalty, and will create a super effective team. If you're truly concerned about their well-being and the people around them, your team will operate for you. You won't have to be, in their face, conscious of what, basically they will do the things that they need to get done to the best of their ability with the circumstances that they're in. And that's the truth of the matter. I think leadership really breaks down to basic things. It breaks down to people first, right? So as long as you're always considering people and yourself too, because that's really important. You can't be a leader if you're not there, if you're not functioning, so you have to really break it down to the basics of leadership and teams. And it's all about making sure that, because people want to do the right thing. They want to work. They want to be part of it. They still want to be part of a team. People thrive off of routines. They thrive off of knowing what's next, right? We're like, okay, we got it. That's how we operate. When we don't know what's going on and we don't have effective leaders that are concerned about well-being, guess what? You lose your entire idea of a team. They won't trust you. You will, lose the trust. You'll lose that synergy. You'll lose that team feeling. I can tell you that the second you tell somebody that doesn't matter to you, you've lost it. And so you just be effective by being compassionate, honestly. And so I think that if people can be just basic, follow basic human things, be compassionate, care about others. Like, it's pretty simple, right? We don't have to have all these amazing theoretical, interventions out there. We can just be simple, like, hey, just check on your fellow man. Why do you think the military is successful? Because we actually trust each other. We count on each other. We look out for each other. We do battle, we have battle buddies. We do battle checks. We are always concerned about our fellow, brother, sister, all of that. And that's why we're effective teams, because we care about each other. And that's really all it is.
you really bring up some great points, because that is what makes the military so successful. And I
Right.
think if our civilian counterparts can really take hold of some of those ideals, they'll
Mhm.
see their teams grow exponentially, and they'll see their effectiveness
Exactly.
grow exponentially. But I want to give you, if somebody want to have a conversation with you, Destinee, and kind of further this discussion, because I know you have so many great ideas. And I mean, even the conversations that you and I have had over the year that we've known each other through Vest Industry and just through
Right.
LinkedIn, how would they get in contact with you?
There's a couple of ways. The easiest way is if you're listening to this, you're probably on LinkedIn already. So you can link in with me. My last name is Prete, Prete, first name Destinee with 2 E's. So that's one of the first ways. I have a website, a coaching website. It's called coachforveterans.com. Pretty simple to remember. You can contact me that way. That'll take you straight to my email. I think those are 2 of the best ways to contact me. You can also email me at coachdestinee@yahoo.com. So I think between LinkedIn, between my coaching website, between the email address, they should definitely be able to get in contact with me. And if you're listening to this, you're probably in some way connected to Bryan or to Vets to Industry, or to just a number of people that are following these kinds of posts. We're all interconnected. We're all stuck together like glue, as you know, Bryan.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
you can't have one without the other with us. So you'll find me on there. But I appreciate you having me on here and having a chance to kind of hopefully empower people and to encourage them through this time, because it's
Yes,
difficult.
absolutely. It
Everybody,
really is.
we're all wondering what's going on, and so while we're all wondering together, we can work together to figure out how to come out stronger when this is all over. So.
Yeah, no, and that's another key aspect of this Lockdown with Thought Leaders series, is that we want to give you guys that are watching or listening to this the ability to say, I need to get out of my shell. I need to get
Right.
away from this toxic. Maybe you're working for a toxic boss. How can I get away from that? Well, here's some thought leaders that can help you kind of grow that mindset, grow
Right.
that thought of, hey, I'm worth more than this. I don't have to
Exactly.
work in a toxic environment. I don't have to be in a toxic work situation. I can be in a better place. And sometimes that's all that is just you being able to hear it from somebody that's maybe not your wife or your husband, your kids, or your spouse,
Exactly.
or significant other at some place. Being able to hear somebody else say, you know what, hey, I get it. You're in a tough place. You can get away from it though. And
Exactly.
here's some ways that can help you deal with that. So, it is more than just, hey, it sounds like a great idea. It's actually more than just a great idea. So
Right.
I love it. I've been doing this, and I'm having so many different thought leaders on this. And
Right.
I want to thank you for your time.
Of
Destiny,
course.
and it really is awesome to finally have that few moments with you, and really have you kind of spell out what it means to be that thought leader in your
Right.
space, and being in a medical space, especially now, that's extra awesome for us.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate that. And
Right.
as we wrap this up, what is that one inspiring thought you would have to share with those that are watching or listening to this? What would you share with us, and
Uh,
kind of as we end this, you know, they're probably like, oh my God, there's so much great information. But what's that one inspiring thought you would share with them
um,
to kind of help them, kind of feel like they're gonna get something away, or they're gonna
um,
grow from this?
I think there's, well, I want to kind of say something real quick, because you brought up me being medical. There are so many unsung heroes right now in our front lines that are medical, and they're not just the doctors and the nurses. Okay, there are people that are working behind the scenes, making some amazing things happen. Okay, like I'm gonna get emotional because I see it every day. No, I'm serious. There are pretty awesome people, and so I think that their resiliency right now is inspiring. Okay, people are being put in situations that they have never been put in before. People are seeing death like they've never seen before. People are in uncomfortable situations. People don't know what's next. As humans, we need to know what's next, right? We don't know what's next. That's okay. You have to be resilient. You have to. You were created to be resilient. You were created that, I mean, let's break it down to biological basics, right? Survival of the fittest, right? We were created to be resilient. We must be resilient. We must honor those who are doing so much on our front lines right now. And I think if we can kind of think about their resiliency right now, it can inspire us. It can make us want to be better too. We want to be better humans too. We want to give back. How do we give back? How do we help? Think about how much our country came together after September 11th. We came together. We need to come together again. And we really need to give honor to those who are doing these big, scary jobs. And we also need to be inspired by their resiliency and their willingness to continue service, even during a time where it is terrifying. So I appreciate it again, and I hope that is what you were looking for. But if not, oh well, that's what you get.
No, that was great. And you know what? I'm singing my heart out to you guys that are first responders. So
yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate all of them, and they really do. After all of this is said and done, we really need to spend some time recognizing, because I can tell you that they feel, many of them have verbalized, they feel like they just don't matter. It just doesn't matter, right? But they matter so much. And so we need to do, just like we do with our veteran community, we need to come together even for these first responders and these medical professionals and really recognize them. So
well said, well said. And I love that you brought that up, because again, we do want to support you guys as medical professionals, first responders,
right.
military veterans, the military community as a whole. That's what you have a support system for. So
Exactly.
if you're watching this and you're a medical professional, you have a support system.
Right.
If you're not in the medical field, you still have a support system. So, don't feel like you're being singled out because you're in a particular area. You're not.
Exactly.
And that's the other thing we as professionals can help others understand is we all have a part to play in this.
Mm-hmm.
We all have something to do in this grand scheme of thing of what we call lockdown 2020, because I feel like that's what it's turning into, is lockdown 2020.
I know.
I almost want to ask, I want to go back and be like, hey, can we get a refund on 2020 and just start 2021 now? Because I just want to call this a wrap, because there's nothing going to happen. But again, there is so much happening, though. That's what we also have to really be understanding of, is there is so much happening. And let's be thankful for that. Let's celebrate.
Absolutely. There's so much opportunity for growth.
Absolutely.
Growth.
And for you guys in the medical field, it's an amazing time for you guys, because you guys are able to now, work on things that you probably hadn't had to work on before. So, I love it that you got that, especially you as being a medical professional, can speak about that. So thank you for your time on that. And,
of course,
you guys are watching this. I love this episode, and I'm going to continue sharing this episode with others, and in hopes that you take this knowledge and hopefully it helps you understand that there is growth opportunities out there. So Destinee, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. Namaste. Thank you so much. Bye.
You guys are fantastic, and love you so much, Destinee, for everything you're doing out there and sharing the good news, sharing the truth that's out there. And I can applaud you for doing that, because so much of it is not truth, and we have to find those truth leaders out there like you that are willing to tell us what's really going on. So continue doing that. So I love it.
All right.
You guys, thank you so much for watching Lockdown with Thought Leaders. We will have another episode up online soon. I know it's crazy. So many episodes, so many thought leaders are out there, but we're going to continue sharing the good news with you guys. And I look forward to our next chat, Destinee. And, again, wonderful having you on today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Have a fantastic day.
You
too. Have a fantastic day. Take care of yourself, too. Please.
I will.
Take care of yourself.
I will.
Have a great day, Destinee. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.